I know what I love, and when I see a piece of art, no matter where I am, no matter who the artist is, whether it be known or unknown, whether it be in a gallery show or an African marketplace, if I love it, I don't even question it. You just know it. You see it and you know it. Whereas in the beginning, you know what, you may have said, oh, I don't know, that's kind of cute. Now it's like, wow. You just like, wow, and try to figure out how you can make it happen. I can make it happen.
And how do you generally make it happen? I mean, because we collect as well, and buying some nice pieces. It's it could. How do you go about making it happen? How much of the art that you've acquired over the years? Because most people don't realize that artists generally have payment plans. And how much of your collection have you acquired through a payment structure?
Oh my God!
And has it helped?
It definitely has helped, and so much of my art. I think you heard me say in the beginning of this clip that my first print, Mr. Clark convinced me that was $300. He convinced me that I can get it, and it was on a payment plan.
Yeah.
Because I always felt that you had to be wealthy to buy fine art.
Yeah.
And even though my first piece was a print, that gallery had a wall of prints or walls of prints, but it also definitely was a gallery space that was reflective of some of the fine art of our culture here in Chicago at the time. And so the more that I began to walk around those walls of art, I began to fall in love with the fine art, even more intrigued because the details were so vivid, the color was so vivid, the canvas was just so vivid, and so it's like, okay, the prints for me began to be just nice, but I knew when I collected my first original piece, and it was over $300, I couldn't believe that I was actually signing off on this payment plan to be able to one day take this piece home. And I will tell you honestly, my first original Annie Lee that I'm so very proud of.
Is it, you want to show it?
Yes. It's called Corn on the Cob.
Corn on the Cob.
Corn on the Cob. I can remember. This is my Corn on the Cob, and this is my first original Annie Lee. This is Annie Lee, an original piece from 1988, and I can remember when I saw this piece in the window of Joe Clark's place called Artworks on 53rd and Hyde Park. I was just like, I was taken out. I was like, oh my God, I gotta have that. And I can recall going into the gallery after looking at it. It was in the window, and it had been new because I would walk by this window. Remember, I would go in this gallery once a week when I was dropping my son off at baseball practice. And so this particular day, I was just scanning the windows first. I hadn't actually stepped into the gallery, and I saw this piece in the window, and I was like, wow, I gotta have that. I love it. And remember, Joe Clark had been convincing me, you can do this, you can collect fine art, you can do it, you don't have to be wealthy. And I was like, I think you do. He's like, no, you don't. And so when I asked the young lady in the gallery that day, well, you think I can afford to put that piece in the layaway? And she was like, I don't know. I don't know. There's been a lot of interest in that piece. And so, sure enough, I left her a couple $100 at the time, and she's like, okay, I'll take it, but I have to have a conversation with Mr. Clark. And later that day, I got a call, and the call said, well, you know what, there have been several people that have looked at that piece, and they're willing to pay for it outright. And then I began to convince Mr. Clark why he should let me put this piece in the layaway.
What was that conversation like? Do you recall?
Oh, I do. As vividly as if it were yesterday.
Conversation like.
Okay, here's where I begin. Mr. Clark calls me back and he says, well, Ms. Briggs, we have had several people that have voiced an interest in the piece. As a matter of fact, we've had to remove it out the window, and I literally can get somebody who's committed to just paying me out and outright for the piece. And I said, but Mr. Clark, I'm Carol. I'm that same young lady that you allowed to put that first Ernie Barnes in layaway. I'm that same person that walks around your gallery every Wednesday almost, and you keep saying to me, you can do this, and I have always wondered how I could ever make it possible, and now I see an original piece that I really want to own. Mr. Clark, you have got to work with me. You told me I could do this. And he hesitated and thought about it, and he said, okay, I'm going to allow you to lay away that piece, and that'll be your first original piece. And here we are today.
Here we are today. What? So you say how many years later?
God.
How many pieces later?
Whoa. You know, I know many people in my collectors group can actually say, you know, oh, they got over this many pieces and that many pieces. Man, I've never really put a physical count on all of my work, but I can tell you, 20-something years later, hundreds and hundreds of pieces.
Right.
Oh my God. And one of my prayers to God often is, if He continues to as He continues to bless my life daily, if more dollars flow, I will definitely put my money into collecting art and supporting my friends who create.